masjid in Texas, like today, we have so many masajid, the mega masajid all over the nation. People are looking at masajid in Texas. But this is the original, before all of that, this was the masjid.
We have the mother of masjids in Iowa. This is the mother of masjid in Texas. Right after 9/11, there was a Molotov bomb that was thrown onto this glass, onto the masjid. And the glass broke. The actual Molotov bomb fell outside of the masjid. But
these are the original beds.
Yeah, these are the original beds.
It's a library and a bedroom.
Library and a bed. You're not going to get that many sisters in here, but this was basically all they had. A day before the
Texas
deep freeze that took place, the fire suppression gave out. So after 40 years, it just gave out. Basically, the roof just gave out, and the amount of water was so much that it flooded the new masjid.
Islamic Sunday School. We have some kids whom they are not Muslims, but their parents bring them and they say, we are Christian, but we want our children to raise with the Muslim children.
We didn't get shunned away. A lot of people think that, hey, kids running around the masjid is a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. I'm proof of it. I'm still here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Anush Mir. I'm the Dawah coordinator for UNT MSA. I'm a sophomore. I'm a revert. I've been Muslim for 2 years. This is the masjid which I've been a part of for my entire life. Everything I've learned, all my friends, everything I've benefited from came from this masjid. I have great love for this masjid. The Sheikh here, Sheikh Muhammad, Hafidullah, may Allah preserve him. All of the knowledge which I've acquired, most of it has came from him. All of the friends which I've acquired here, my personal life, my personal development, all of it has came from this masjid. So I have nothing but good things to say about this masjid. Allahumma barik. May Allah continue to put barakah in this masjid. Inshallah, many more students, many more reverts, many more Muslims to come and to benefit here, inshallah, in Denton ISD Masjid.
So Brother Anush, you said that you became Muslim a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I became Muslim my senior year of high school, 2022, about a little over 2 years ago now, alhamdulillah. I was just in high school, I was lost. I wanted to know my purpose in life. I wanted to know what's going to be here in the afterlife. Alhamdulillah, Allah guided me. I looked through many religions, but of course only Islam shined through. The truth, the aqidah, the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tawheed, and of course Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran, all of these things led me to accepting Islam. I became Muslim.
And can we talk about the role that the MSA and the masjid played in that?
The masjid, of course, I came here, all of the things which I learned as far as salah, how to pray, zakat, all of the things, 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 pillars of Iman, my aqidah, my belief in Allah, even learning Arabic, many of these things I benefited from the masjid. After my senior year, my freshman year of college, of course, I learned so much. All of my friends that I have today, alhamdulillah, most of them I met through the MSA, and the rest I met through the masjid. So
Allah guides who He will. Subhanallah. Just in a couple of years, if you didn't tell me, I would never know. What's driving you to learn more and more about the deen?
I guess what's driving me so much is I know what's on the other side, right? All that's left on the other side. So many Muslims, they've been Muslim their entire life. They don't know. They don't know what's waiting for them. They're so obsessed, chasing the dunya, chasing these materialistic things. But I have my own personal experience in them, and my personal experience is that it's like a cup with a hole in it and at the bottom. No matter how much you fill, it'll keep just falling out. So I know Islam has, filled my heart, it's gave me satisfaction, it's gave me contentment more than anything, peace. And so this is what drives me to keep on seeking more knowledge and benefiting myself as a Muslim.
Subhanallah, that's amazing. Jazakallah khair, brother. I appreciate that.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zahra and I'm the Vice President for TWMSA.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Banu and I am a resident of Denton.
All right, sisters, tell us, what are you doing here this Friday evening at the masjid?
Enjoying good company with the other community members here in Denton.
Tell us about, what does Denton Masjid mean to you?
Somewhere I can be comfortable at. So it has good vibes, mashallah.
I love the Denton Masjid. I'm here very often. We do a lot of programs with moms, kids, everything. And I love being a part of that. I love being a part of this community. It's awesome to have such a beautiful Muslim community, especially here in the West.
And sister, you mentioned that you are a resident of Denton?
Actually, no. I moved here for college, but I've since graduated and I live here now.
All right, sister, tell us about the MSA at TWU.
Alhamdulillah, the masjid is always willing to support us. Anytime we need something, they always automatically give us that help, alhamdulillah. And our MSA is a smaller MSA, so we always need support and help, and alhamdulillah, the masjid's always there for us.
Any message you have?
Inshallah, I just hope that everyone feels welcome to be here. It's alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, like when I first came here, it was just very comfortable. You know, I just automatically belonged.
I think being like a Muslim in the West, especially like I came from a much smaller town, can be very isolating. So it's incredibly important, especially for sisters, to find a sense of community within their masjids.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Imam Muhammad Fuad. I'm from Egypt. I came from Al-Azhar University as a mission to be Imam of Denton Mosque, Islamic Society of Denton, and that is since 2005.
Almost 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
MashaAllah. Tell us about your time here.
I graduated in the School of Preaching in Al-Azhar, and I worked as Imam and preacher in Egypt and in Kenya and in Saudi Arabia and some other places. And finally, Al-Azhar chose me to be as a mission for the Islamic Society of Denton to be Imam. Almost every single week, we have someone whom he or she come and convert to Islam in our masjid. Alhamdulillah, we are in ni'mah. In our Sunday school, Islamic Sunday school, we have some kids whom they are not Muslims. They are not Muslims, but their parents bring them and they say, we are Christian, but we want our children to raise with the Muslim children, not with the non-Muslim children, to prevent them from the drug, to prevent them from the bad friendship, to prevent them from anything like that. They say, we are Christian, but we want our children to raise with the Muslim community because they are the best school.
MashaAllah. We have reached a level where the non-Muslims want to study with us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Omar Saadiyeh. I am the president of the Islamic Society of Denton.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Dr. Umar, thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to be here at the Denton Masjid. Tell us about growth that you've seen here.
MashaAllah, I have been here for the last 20 years actually, pretty much more steady. I'd say for the last 6 years since I retired. So start coming here more regularly, lending a hand, helping the brothers. And MashaAllah, for the prayers, we could barely fill up the downstairs a few years ago. The brothers have built this masjid right here. Then here lately with the Taraweeh, MashaAllah, we had all the downstairs filled, all the upstairs filled. Also in the hallway, brothers put their praying carpets and pray over here. And for the Eid, MashaAllah, for Eid al-Fitr, we had almost 1,200 people, MashaAllah, congregation outside. We had a beautiful celebration. So the growth is increasing tremendously. For about 1.5 years since the last elections, we had approximately 25 to 30 students in the Islamic school on Sunday. For the last count, we had 81 students, MashaAllah, for our school. Our target is 125 students by spring of next year, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah, that's wonderful. This being the first masjid built from the ground up in the state of Texas, how does it feel to be part of such a historic masjid?
It is really great feeling, really wonderful feeling. Other imams, amirs of the other masajid are happy, but they don't have that great feeling to be the first masjid, and especially when it was established and built by some students. I believe at that time, with all regard to them from Saudi Arabia, there were students here at the University of North Texas. They decided to build a small musalla, and they had the old one. That capacity was 2 to 3 dozens of people. But alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we expanded and we have what we have right now.
This masjid being close to one of the biggest universities in the DFW Metroplex area, what role does Denton Masjid play in their life as a Muslim?
Oh, mashallah, we do have the MSA for both Texas Women University as well as the University of North Texas. As you mentioned, one of the biggest universities here in Texas. The students' role is great. They have their activities here. We make sure that to bring them in as often as possible. They participate in Ramadan and all other activities and in the food line, and they help the communities. And it's really essential for us to have them. And the last activity they had, there were about 350 of the Muslim students. They had another 50 of their guests. So we had about 400 students outside, with their celebration. So they do play a great role, and we make sure as a community to help them, to assist them as much as we can, whether financially as much as we can, or whether from the legal department. We're open for them 24/7.
Can we talk about the programs that you have here?
We do have the family night at least once every 4 weeks. We invite all the families. Brothers, mashallah, contribute for the food, and then the sisters, mashallah, contribute. It's mostly potluck, just to kind of get the variety and diversity of the food. And maybe yourself has witnessed some of it tonight. Mashallah, it's really great.
Alhamdulillah.
And it's a wonderful diversity here. I just cannot count how many languages are present. And normally we get approximately 200 350 to 400 people on a Friday or on the family night.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed Al-Minoufi. I'm a Denton-born resident. I was born in December 1981, and the masjid itself opened in August 1981, making it the first purpose-built masjid in the state of Texas. My dad came to the U.S. in '78 as a student at the University of North Texas. Back then it was called North Texas State University. The land that the masjid is on here at 1105 Greenlee was purchased in 1979. Students used to pray at UNT, and then as community members from Denton would attend, the university basically said, hey, you need to pay a fee for the rental basically of the facility. Back then, a local resident here, Dr. Farhat Aziz, may God rest his soul, he basically opened his house as place for Jum'ah, for Eid prayers, so the community would pray Eid basically at his house over off of Georgetown here in Denton. Community has grown since. My son, Yusuf, now comes to the Sunday school here, and my daughter, inshallah, soon, she's 3 right now, she'll be coming also to the Masjid Sunday school as well. The building that we're in here was the original part of the masjid. I'll kind of give you a quick tour. So this is our prayer hall here, was the prayer hall. Now it's our community center. Right here was the staircase we used to run up and down. I probably got a couple bumps on my head from this staircase. Back in 1979, once the masjid, the land was purchased, it was basically through donations from students that were here going to University of North Texas. My dad, may he rest in peace, he told me the story all the time, and my mom, she still reminds me of the story now. Students, as they went back from Bahrain, from Kuwait, from all over the Muslim world, Malaysia, they would go back home and they would say, hey, we need donations for this masjid. It's going to be the first masjid. And so money started coming in. And so this octagon looking shaped building was the original form of it, and as money started coming in, you have this extra piece that looks like it was an add-on, but that was originally part of it. And people, from all over the world, donations came in different forms, from these light lantern fixtures that are above us here. Those came from Egypt. We had some tile that came from Iran.
It's amazing.
Now it serves as a community center. We've had our Sunday school graduation. Recently we had first DFW Muslim Shark Tank. It took place here.
Really?
And
Muslim Shark Tank.
Muslim Shark Tank. So we had some local business, couple CEOs of different businesses, Sister Sausan from Shawarma Press, Brother Muayyad Abdul Hadi from Paxson Benficia, and Brother Muhammad Musa from Deepen AI were some of the judges, as well as our own board president, Dr. Omar, were part of the panels.
MashaAllah.
We had about 10 people, actually, submissions that presented different business ideas. Some of them were concepts, some of them were actual businesses that are working right now. Right after 9/11, subhanAllah, this over here, there's this window. So you have this glass right here. There was a Molotov bomb that was thrown onto this glass, onto the masjid, and the glass broke. There was glass all over the inside of the masjid, but the actual Molotov bomb fell outside of the masjid. Alhamdulillah, we have very good relationships with our neighbors here. They're the ones that actually called 911, and the fire department came out. And a couple days after that, when news spread, students from UNT came with their own buckets of water and soap, and they try to clean as much as they can outside. Wow. And so alhamdulillah, we have a good relationship throughout the Denton community. We have good outreach. Our Imam Muhammad Fuad is involved with outreach and building bridges with other churches and community. And we do have a church next door. It's an orphanage from part of the Methodist Church, and so Denton Cumberland Orphanage. So our neighbor next door, we've tried to purchase a house a few times, and she said, why would I ever sell my house? I have 2 churches to my left and to my right. But we're still trying to, hopefully, inshallah, it will be a good addition to have either a small playground for the kids, because it's nested between the old masjid and the new masjid.
Let's start the tour, inshallah.
Alrighty.
So these stairs were here?
Yep, these are original stairs. As I was mentioning, I grew up in this community, and I used to run up these stairs, and being nested right here, right in the prayer hall, people used to, always tell us kids, we didn't get shunned away, which is, a lot of people think that, hey, kids running around the masjid is a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. I'm proof of it. I'm still here at the masjid and
SubhanAllah. Brother, I have to ask you, tell us about the shape. The shape of this original building is, you mentioned octagon?
Part of the history, some names to mention, Dr. Tahir al-Dabbagh from Saudi Arabia. There was a handful of other brothers as well. Some of the names slip my mind. So Dr. Tahir, he graduated from UNT with a PhD in 1980. He stayed for an extra year when the masjid was open, because his wife also graduated from here. And then the brother that designed the masjid was actually an Egyptian brother, and he basically said this is his donation to the masjid, is designing the masjid. So he built it in this octagon looking shape, and as we come down from the stairs, you'll be able to see that there's center blocks. So it's windproof, it's tornado, it's all kinds of, it's very, very sturdy building. It was purposefully built. He wanted it to be unique and also kind of blend in a way. So we don't have a minaret or anything on the old masjid itself. And then as donations, money kept on coming, alhamdulillah, that they put, back in 81, they put water solar heaters on the roof. So we didn't have to worry about electric bill for the water heaters. And then after that even, our parking lot was concrete poured, not asphalt. So something in 81 typically would be just asphalt. And a lot of the masajid that were around back in the 80s are usually asphalt paved.
Yes.
But ours, alhamdulillah, we had the money coming from donations, that's what happened. And subhanAllah, the donations from students and community members over the years was enough to sustain the masjid until 2007, where we had our first ever fundraising dinner where we wanted to expand the community.
So for 26 years, you did not even need a fundraiser.
Alhamdulillah, it was basic donations from Friday, Jum'ah, from Ramadan,
Yeah.
a handful of families in the community, and reoccurring donations from members, faculty at UNT, professors, and others that kept it
And
sustainable.
what led to that fundraiser, like the growth of the community?
I actually was president of the MSA, UNT MSA, and when I was president, we have here at the masjid, being it's close to the University of North Texas and Texas Women, we have daily iftar during Ramadan. And so I approached our president at that time, the board president, Dr. Tanwir Qureshi, and I said, Doctor, I heard that you guys purchased the land next door. Is that intention for it to be for the masjid? And he said, Inshallah. I told him, well, I'm president of MSA, I can recruit volunteers, and we can clear the land and get to use the house that's next to the masjid as a place for prayer, for events, etc. And so we started doing that around 2002. And by 2003, we cleared the land, we connected speakers, wiring to the house speakers, and we utilized that. In 2003, in Eid, MSA had its Eid party there. We have a sister, she actually got married and she had her walima in the house.
Subhanallah.
It was, and then eventually the house became the imam residence for the imam of the masjid's residence. That basically, into 2007, we started doing some fundraising just in the masjid, but we really needed to reach out to the greater DFW. So we had our first fundraising dinner in 2007 at the Doubletree Hotel off of Midway, where a lot of the Masajid in the DFW area does their fundraisings. And so that was our first one. And this year we had our 17th annual fundraising for the purpose of our waqf and expansion project, inshallah.
Yes. That's what I was surprised, that the masjid is more than 40 years old, mashallah, but this is just the 17th.
Yeah.
And the plan is not to continue these fundraisers, but to get into
Inshallah.
endowment.
Exactly. So the plan is, we have a number of houses on the street here that the masjid is targeting to purchase and rent out. But also, a couple houses is good, but having something like 18 apartments would be something nice, with the lower floor being rented out commercially. And so that's a project that our current board president, Dr. Amar, is leading the efforts for, and we've raised some money, which for the first year, it's good. So alhamdulillah, that's the target is to keep working on that, and inshallah we can break ground soon with that in the land that was purchased next door.
Inshallah. May Allah make it happen as soon as possible.
Inshallah. Right over here is this is a very
Historic.
We had people that donated to the masjid in forms of financial donations, and then there was book donations that came from Palestine, from Syria, from Egypt, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from Kuwait. So if we grab any of the masahif or any of the stuff, we could probably see where they were donated from. So this is the original library. The unique part about this library is that when the masjid was built, they had in mind the students as they would attend. So we have actually open up beds on both sides of the wall.
Subhanallah.
And the purpose, this might be a little dusty because nobody's used it in probably a while. But
These are the original beds.
Yeah, these are the original beds. They've probably gotten some wear and tear on it, but nobody lived here full time for that matter. But we have on both sides, this side and that side.
There's one over here too.
Yep, exactly. So these are...
This is amazing. It's a library and a bedroom.
Library and a bedroom. When my dad came There was about 10 to 15 students that were from Al-Azhar University. As a prerequisite is as a graduate from high school of Al-Azhar, you memorize the Quran. And so they basically rotated leading prayers until 1984. We had our first imam. He was actually a student at University of North Texas, Imam Ahmad Al-Arrafi. He led the community from 1984 to 2005. And so this was his office while he was our imam. During the daytime, he taught Quran at Islamic Quran Academy in Richardson. And we had, of course, this is not enough space, so we have a little mezzanine area that was that had the computer, has a couple boxes and stuff. We had a water damage that happened, and so some of the stuff is still packed in boxes.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, so in 2021, a day before the
Texas
deep freeze that took place, the fire suppression gave out. So after 40 years, it just gave out.
Just a couple of days before the...
Yeah, just 2 days. We have cameras throughout the masjid, so the cameras got the full footage. It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. So basically, the roof just gave out, and the amount of water was so much that it flooded the new masjid. Water started just coming gushing, and interestingly enough, for others to know this, is that the water from the fire suppression is not the same water valve for your regular water into the masjid. So if you have water damage in the kitchen or something, you go close that water valve.
Yeah.
But for the fire suppression, there's a certain area in your masjid that has that valve close off, and we didn't know this. So it took us
Nobody knew.
It took a good hour or so or longer to find out where that was. And so it's in a closet that we know now for sure where it is, and that's
now you know.
Now we know.
SubhanAllah, that's amazing. How many trials and tribulations this masjid has been through, and still going strong, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, and here's that other bed. So this one doesn't have. Hold on. So
these books. Yeah. They're from 1981?
Yeah.
The original books are here.
Some of these are older than. So this is one of the original stamps, Islamic Society of Denton, the library. Some of these books have the actual checkout from the masjid.
Okay.
There were certain books that were allowed to be checked out and certain books that were not allowed to be checked out. Right here, masjid property, please do not remove. And so this is from Saudi Arabia.
It came from there. The students brought it from there.
Yeah, and so there is one stamp. It's actually a part of our logo that my father, it has his handwriting on it. This is actually this was one of the original stamps. So the architect had died in the building, and then my dad wrote on the top of the building in Arabic the Islamic Center of Denton, and then in English Islamic Society of Denton, but Masajid al-Islami of Denton. So this logo eventually has evolved, and we got it engraved this year for our 43rd year anniversary on some tumblers where we cleaned up some of the gardens. So this garden's is changed up. This was a cul-de-sac behind the masjid where the sisters would be dropped off, and the side entrance. So we have that addition piece on here. It's stamped twice. So
SubhanAllah, what an iconic logo. Tell us about the motivation of these students. Your father was one of them. No masjid in Texas like today. We have so many masajid, the mega masajid, and all over the nation and all over the world, people are looking at masajid in Texas. But this is the original. Before all of that, this was the masjid.
If you go around Dallas-Fort Worth, Brother Munzar Talib, he actually was a student here at UNT. A lot of masajid from Irving, Valley Ranch, Plano, Epic, Masajid in Oklahoma, any of those masjids, Denton was one of the places they came for fundraising Jummah. We have an open door policy, and you want to come and do Jummah, khutbah, and do fundraising, it was always open. And so we have the mother of masjids in Iowa. This is the mother of masjids, I would say, in Texas.
The mother masjid of Texas here.
Anybody that's lived in Dallas-Fort Worth in the 80s knows Denton Masjid. There wasn't a lot of masajid. It was basically Denton, Masjid Ibrahimi in Fort Worth, and Richardson, INT.
So Denton came first.
Denton came first. Richardson and Masjid Ibrahimi, I think, don't quote me, but I believe it was Masjid Ibrahimi and then INT.
SubhanAllah, that is amazing. Yep. When you come to this masjid, you don't feel that this is an old masjid because it's so well kept and it's so lively.
Alhamdulillah, we through volunteers, any masjid in the US is going to have volunteers that make it what it is, and we don't have a lot of a big budget like some of the other masajid, but alhamdulillah that we have that small feel community still, and we have alhamdulillah very fortunate with the amount of volunteers we have. We have a volunteer group, one of the brother leads for cleaning, and so they have their own WhatsApp
Mashallah.
and they come out and they clean the masjid.
May Allah bless them.
And with UNT and Texas Women's, I mean, I'll tell you, when I was president of MSA, we didn't have the amount of members. MashaAllah, seeing the youth at UNT, TW, and the sister sorority even at UNT is very inspiring. We always had a lot of challenges, want to have an event, well, we don't have money, well, what do we do, etc. But alhamdulillah, I think both MSAs, they have the support from a lot of the communities, from Frisco Masjid supporting, there's a UNT campus in Frisco.
Oh, really?
And yes, UNT, University of North Texas, is not a part of the Texas system, so it's not a part of UT.
Okay.
And so they basically started their own system. There's UNT Fort Worth, which is for the osteopathic medicine.
Right.
And there's UNT Dallas, which is the law school. And then Frisco, they purchased, I'm not sure how many acres, but they have a campus there. Right here, I'll kind of give you a quick tour of the old masjid, which is now kind of our mess hall, our cafeteria.
We are still in the old masjid.
We're still in the old masjid. So right here, this was basically, there used to be a door here. So just a regular entry door. And this was the men's wudu area. And so this is going to be our future coffee bar. The woodwork got finished. And we're going to have, a little barista area here. But
Mashallah.
that's future speaking. Historically,
the students are going to love that.
yeah, these were the original windows, and this was basically wudu area. Right here was sinks. We had about 6, if I recall correctly, sinks, wudu areas here. Right here next to this post, there was a washer and dryer. So today we have this paper towel stand. Back in 1981, we didn't have paper towels. We were environmentally friendly, so we had towels. We had a washer and dryer that would, we'd wash the towels. And then you had a couple restroom stalls, and then there was a shower here in the masjid area.
Mashallah.
And shower, yeah.
Wow.
The intention was that if you're a student and you come to UNT, you just came, it's going to take you a day at least to find an apartment, 2 days, a week at least. So needed to have, washer, dryer, have a shower, have a bed for you to stay at. So this area, now it's opened up, but historically you had the restroom. So now we're outside, and this is the entry area. So, masjid like this, we didn't have a lot of space, but again, alhamdulillah, men prayer hall would take about 100 or so. And then the women area would take about 20 or more. But this area here that we have these 2 tables, we used to have a table right here for Ramadan, for iftar. Again, every day of the month we have iftar. And we would have the table right here. People would come through here, come down, grab their plate, do a U-turn, go back inside the prayer hall. We had stuff on the floor. Now, alhamdulillah, we have tables and chairs. As the community grew, there was no room for the sisters in their area to be able to eat and pray. And so one of the brothers suggested that we give them some of this lobby. There used to be a couch right here and a water fountain, and there was a mosaic of tiles that was from Iran. It was on the wall that used to be here, but they've opened it up since for this expansion. And so what we ended up doing is we put a curtain rod up here, and we moved the table for the men's to be literally right here. So as people would come, they'd get their food and do a U-turn. And so we would be literally back to back to the sisters. And a lot of times we would just pass the tray underneath the curtain just to give them the food and get food from them.
Right.
And so it was
challenging,
but subhanAllah, looking back nowadays, we used to, in Ramadan, we would have 3 volunteers. This year, subhanAllah, we had about 40 volunteers.
40 volunteers?
40 volunteers.
Mashallah.
We actually got some vests that have volunteers on the back. That logo, we put it on the back of the vest. And when we purchased it, we purchased only 25, thinking, 25 will be 10 used, and we have used all 25. And then the sister volunteers, they wanted some, but we didn't have any more. So instead of people coming through lining up, what we did this year, again the first year in 2024, was we had people come in and just sit down on tables, and we served them. Over here we have, as part of the expansion, we opened up this area. So this used to be center blocks right here, and we knocked it open, and inshallah future we'll have this a little bit enclosed, so that way when the kitchen's not in service it would be closed. But this is where
the boundary of the new and old masjid.
Exactly. So we basically had volunteers. We had this table or platform for food, and inside we had another table. And the warmer, we have all those trays. We would basically make the plates, and the volunteers would bus out the food out to the people sitting.
Wow.
So it was very dignifiable. You don't have to stand.
Yes.
after fasting, long day in the summer, and then having to do that. So
tell us about this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous door.
Yeah, this is the newest addition. It was part of continuation of the community center, kind of just to close it off. It was in the making. It took a little long, but it is handmade, custom built for the community.
Where did it come from?
It was local. It was actually, she used to be a nurse at the late Dr. Tanweer Qureshi's office. They have a carpentry shop now and got this procured for the masjid. We're standing right here. If I have an imaginary wall, this is the old area for the women's. So you can see with the way that the qibla is, you're not going to get that many sisters in here, but this was basically all they had. And then behind me was a small area, 2 sinks and 2 restroom stalls as restroom area for them. And then in between the restroom and the men's restroom was a small kitchen. So right here is where the motor room used to be, with the AC to spread out to the masjid. So this is that additional area to the octagon part of the building that we had. And then these stairs, there used to be a glass window here that the sisters could, open the blinds and be able to see the lectures and stuff on the men's side. And there used to be a door so they can come in and out. So this is one of the mugs. This was actually one of the samples that we got from our vendor. So we took that original, again, logo, cleaned it up from the writing. And so this is that addition that I was mentioning. It looks like an addition, but it was actually part of the original part of the building. So you have the octagon looking shape. And so that is the original. If you show this picture to anybody without the writing on it that lived in Dallas-Fort Worth, they'll tell you that's Denton Masjid. So it's kind of a historic logo.
Yeah, immediately identifiable.
Immediately identifiable. And the students at UNT took it and put it on some merchandise this is the second year, so paying homage to the masjid that has supported MSA over the years and has been a home for the students. UNT, has a lot of memories and a lot of the DFW community. It's one of the most cost economical universities in the Metroplex. And so we do get a lot of students from all over Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way from Houston, all around the country actually. We had at the peak about 800 students from Saudi Arabia, undergrad, master's, PhD.
At one time? At
one time. Now most of the students are from India. We had roughly 200 students from Hyderabad. We have roughly 200 right now. Jum'ah, we get pretty full. In Eid, this whole area was utilized. In Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, we filled this old masjid and the new masjid. So this whole area we had, rugs and stuff. And it was full with people. And the old masjid was full, entire downstairs. Women had downstairs and upstairs. And then we also had outside. So we reached almost 1,000 this year for Eid. Beyond these doors is where the new masjid is.
The new masjid begins from here.
Yeah, the new masjid begins from here. And it kind of slopes down.
Oh yes, it kind of slopes down. Brother Ahmed, we are in the new part of the masjid.
So we're in the new part of the masjid. So the construction started in 2008, roughly. So they started the excavation and that part. And we opened in 2015. So we have 2 stories. Elevator goes upstairs we have a women's area, and we have about 7 classroom spaces. Down here, we have the imam office. And we have an admin office. So the Imam office is a lot bigger than the old office.
MashaAllah.
He has his own quarters for wudu and his own facilities. And then we have the admin office right here for the board. Every masjid has a continuous improvement. So we have our shoe racks in here.
Oh, MashaAllah. In the wudu area.
Yep. It was an inspiration from another masjid that we saw.
And which masjid was that?
It was actually Corpus Christi.
Oh, mashallah. I haven't been there.
Yeah, they have a beautiful masjid. They had an old masjid and a new masjid.
Okay, mashallah.
And so
I heard they sell shark biryani over there.
Shark? No. Down here we have a women's hall. It's utilized for Sunday school, so the upstairs classrooms are not enough. Alhamdulillah, we back to pre-COVID numbers and growing. So we have about 80 or more students. So we have a couple classrooms that take classroom down here. It's a one-way mirror.
Right.
So the sisters can see us, prayer hall. And then we have down here the main entrance to the men's area. And
this is the main musalla.
This is the main musalla. And so after the water damage, historically our masjid's carpet has been green. So the water, when it came from where we walked all the way here, this all water was gushing throughout the masjid. So you saw the little slope from that walkway. And so all this got damaged with carpet and the padding. Once the padding gets damaged, it's pretty much all damaged. You know, the water damage happened in 2021, and then that apocalyptic freeze that happened.
Yeah.
We weren't the only ones that impacted, other houses were, and so with part of COVID and scarcity of material, we were impacted, and so it wasn't until earlier this year that we actually got everything finalized. We got the carpet in, and this was customized carpet. The carpet was custom-made carpet. A lot of thought went into it with the previous board when they finishing it off. So as you can see, like this mihrab area, you don't have the lines, so that's part of the thoughts that went into it. So they connected it, you know, down to detail, even with the chandelier, you know, non-traditional chandelier look.
This is the past, and this is the future.
These are literally metal posts. A lot of this is styrofoam. This
Okay.
is pretty much styrofoam.
MashaAllah.
I remember coming to the masjid when this was all just metal steel
Right.
beams. As we got donations, averaging about 100,000 a year. So, and then we had Qard Hassan also, and finally we were able to finish up and open in 2015. We did a different type of
Member.
That way it's easier, not like the mobile one.
Yes. What's the future of Denton Masjid? What's the vision?
Well, alhamdulillah, with the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have talked between the imam and the board members. We said we have to have a steady income for the masjid. The plan, alhamdulillah, is already posted in the front. We complete the architecture, 15 unit apartments. Of course, our budget is so little for right now, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send us some good donors. But 15 unit apartments, 2 bedrooms in each one of them with 2 full bathrooms to be built on the land across the street, right adjacent to us, across the masjid, which is currently the parking lot that the community has purchased in the past. And there was a house on it. We demolished the house. We made it a parking lot for about 60 cars. So that's where we're going to build the apartments, inshallah ta'ala, to bring a steady income for the masjid in the future, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah.
And we started this program approximately 10 months ago. So far, alhamdulillah, we have about $80,000 for the waqf, and we're still receiving donations from the good donors and brothers.
And if anybody would like to contribute, how can they do that? Go to the website?
Yes, they go to dentonmasjid.com, and we have the waqf also, including the masjid operations and the schools and etc. They can choose whichever subject they can and make a donation to it.
And
even from overseas, they can do that.
What is the significance of it, and why should they help?
Well, like I said, number one, of course, it's the first masjid in Texas. That's, we're proud of that. Number two is we are a student community, and the students, of course, come from overseas. For whichever reason, every so often they need some help and assistance. We try to help them as much as we can, but for the lack of fund, unfortunately, sometimes we're unable to fulfill all of their needs or not giving them enough because of their needs and so forth. Now, if we have more money, then we can help them. That's number one. For this location, it's also connected between Oklahoma, Fort Worth, and Dallas. Pretty much, we are in the Golden Triangle location. People come to visit, whether going to Fort Worth, to Oklahoma, or vice versa, from Dallas, Richardson. They stop here on a daily basis. We see some people that stop by. We recognize them, say, are you new here, brothers and sisters? They said, yes, we're visiting. We looked it up. It's a great, great location, really. So we'd like to get as much community coming to our masjid as possible.
Subhanallah. So the students are the ones who build the masjid. If they need help, this is a big reason to help the next generation of Muslim students.
That's definitely, people helped us establishing the masjid, and we try to help them as much as we can. And focusing again, the next step after the apartments, inshallah, for the waqf. It's a full-time school, inshallah, for our younger generation. And our ages, above the 60, 70, we accomplished everything.
So this will have accommodation for, it will be rented out to for the building that
we do have also the expansion, also have done the architecture. It's expansion right where this small front parking lot for about 6,000 square feet to be between school as well as a recreation center, as a basketball and so forth, to bring all the youth and school kids, inshallah.
Inshallah, that's great. Your final remarks, inshallah.
Well, besides thanking everybody for their great contribution and then attending to the masjid, and of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخَرِ. So we do thank them for giving us the great opportunity of establishing this masjid, giving me the opportunity to become the Amir or the president of the community, and also would like to encourage them to attend to the masjid as much as possible. and not to forget their donations and contribution to the masjid in order to keep us going, nourishing and prosperity for us,
Jazakallah
inshallah,
khair.
and the Muslim nation.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feek. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair.
All right, Brother Ahmad, Jazakallah khair for a beautiful, wonderful tour. Let's have your final thoughts. Any last messages for the Ummah?
Yeah, I'd like to, encourage everybody to support their local masjids in any form or fashion. As we walk through our masjid, it's not only by the money, it's not only, it's whatever you can provide, whether it's books, whether it's volunteer. Our Sunday schools volunteers from students at UNT, the cleaning crews volunteers. So whatever you can, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "Taqi an-nar walau bishaqq tamra," even a sliver of a date to avoid the hellfire. Get involved, get with your community. You'll be surprised how much you can benefit, even if you feel like, hey, I don't have a penny to give. Your knowledge in itself, your effort, your sweat, any masjid can utilize that.